Hello, this is the first part of a two-part video on how I've made a wood turning lathe for next to nothing. I was very kindly given an electric motor from an old washing machine, and the headstock for the lathe is part of a conveyor belt from a manufacturing line, and it came integral with the pulleys that my neighbour had made, and that was the basis for me making this lathe. Now I've chosen the position for the motor and the headstock. I just wanted to cut a slot in the top plank which is nearest to me, and to ensure that I don't hit the nails, I've taken out the centre wooden block from here, and to stiffen the plank up I'm screwing in a vertical plank in between the upper pallet and the lower pallet face to make this whole top plank nice and stiff. I've now screwed the reinforcing panel in, and so the top and the lower pallet planks are now nice and solid and they won't flex. So the next stage is to attach the chipboard top back onto the lathe bed. And now the chipboard top is in place, I can now mark out the position and cut the slot. Now that I've cut the slot, I've realised it's quite important that I do secure the chipboard to the bottom lower plank with two screws in the middle of the bed as well. Now I've cut the slot, the tailstock will fit in quite nicely, full width, and to support it in its track I'm going to make two shoulders out of this triangular shaped timber which came from an orange crate. Attach it to that, and that will give me the support we need to hold the tailstock rigidly. Now I've cut my tailstock, it fits in the track. I'm going to attach the shoulders to it, and I want the bottom face of this to be not to be proud of the lower face of the track, because I want it to be able to clamp it in place. So I'm going to put a packing piece of the same size piece of wood like that in the track, and then I'm going to rest the tailstock onto it, and then I will be able to attach the shoulders, and then I'll be able to attach the fixing stud in the bottom. That's the tailstock in place with the first shoulder, and I'm going to have to glue and screw it into position, and I'm using two tri-squares, one here and one here, to keep everything nice and square whilst I'm screwing it up. There's the tailstock in place, moves nicely in the track, and it's nice and solid. When it's clamped down it will be nice and firm, attached to the bed. And I'll take a picture of the underneath view now. I've now fixed the chipboard that I just cut to the rear of the table. There's the finished table. Now what I'm going to do is put the motor, the headstock and the tailstock in place. I've now scribed a line in the tailstock, which is a centre line, and I've put a little pointer in the chuck of the headstock, and I've aligned the two. So now I can fix the headstock to the bed. Now I've just mounted a ½ metre length of 10mm threaded bar into the headstock, and it's describing a circle but not around the centre line axis that I described in the tailstock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just finely adjust the headstock position, and it's only the lateral movement I'm bothered about, the horizontal movement. I'm not worried about the vertical movement. Now I've just slackened it off and moved the headstock, and if I rotate the headstock 180 degrees I can see that the line that I've drawn on the tailstock is tangential to the two sides of the threaded bar. That's the headstock tightened up again now, and I think you can see that it's moving quite nicely either side of that vertical line on the tailstock. Now before I fix the position of the motor, I'm going to put a strip of wood here, some timber here, just so that once this belt's on and the motor's running, I'm not going to get any possible movement of this headstock due to the tension that's going to be on the belt. This is the board that I'm going to mount the motor onto, and I've already drilled through the holes which are going to go through the lathe bed, and I've got to slot these, but also for the motor lateral position, the fore and aft position, sorry, I'm going to have to drill and slot these 3 mounting holes so I can attach the motor to the wooden plate. So now I'm ready to cut the slots on the mounting table. And just check the slots fit. That's nice. Now that I've cut the slots for the motor mounting bolts, I'm now going to cut a rebate so that I can sink the head below the surface of the wood. That's the first rebate cut, and just check it for size. There we are, nice and flush now. That's the motor mounted now, and the pulley's connected, so let's just give it a little trial.